1981, when France abolished the death penalty, we were the 35th country in the world to do it. Now, in the UN, of the 192 member states, 138 have abolished it de jure or de facto, meaning that abolition is now definitely the majority position in the world. This is the result which we really didn't expect in 1981. Then international instruments within the UN. I'm speaking in front of you, so here we have the second optional protocol. I'm sure you're well aware of it. Each year you can measure the progress made there. We are now 72 states which have ratified the second optional protocol. It's not only one of the greatest causes, if not the most important human rights cause, because the first right is the right to life, but certainly one of the great and noble victories that mankind can win over itself.
The CESC has benefited enormously from the provisions of the optional protocol of the Civil Covenant, often taking over completely those provisions where this was possible. Let me now briefly turn to the question of one overlap of substantive rights under both covenants. The most conspicuous example is the right to life under Article 3 of the Universal Declaration and Article 6 of the Civil Covenant. It details the inherent nature of this right, its protection by law, and the guarantee that no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his life. In the practice of the Civil Rights Committee, the right to life has turned out to be the most important generic provision, and occasionally has even brought ESC rights into purview. Other issues of a broader understanding concern health issues such as harmful traditional practices, the combat against HIV/AIDS, and even environmental health and nutritional matters were seen to flow from the right to life.
Although there is no formal channel allowing for dialogue and exchange of information between the Council and the Committee, I would like to emphasize that the work of the Committee is, in reality, largely taken into account by the Council. The work of the Committee has resonated in the Human Rights Council chamber during the sessions of the Universal Periodic Review. The UPR has therefore provided an effective way to raise the awareness about the Committee's work, and also to disseminate the work to a larger audience and give impetus to the Committee's recommendations.
I would urge states, in the context of the Council review, to pay close attention to the relationship of the Council, and particularly UPR, and the treaty bodies. I'd urge them to ensure that we maintain the autonomy and distinct nature of the two procedures, but also their vital complementarity.
On several occasions I have said that the committee is to some extent in danger, in the sense that we need to cooperate more with the UPR. Our committee needs to work with the Human Rights Council, the danger being fragmentation, a sort of human rights forum shopping.
UNHCR has indeed intensified its cooperation with the Human Rights Committee over the years. We use the Committee's concluding observations, recommendations, and its case law and jurisprudence as protection advocacy tools. The Committee's observations have gained in importance for us also in the context of the Universal Periodic Review, since treaty body conclusions and recommendations of relevance to our mandate and to our persons of concern are often included in the compilation reports.
Labour rights, international labour standards, are a component of international law on human rights. International labour standards, particularly the declared fundamental rights at work, comprise political and civil rights, as well as economic, social, and indeed, in some cases, cultural rights. This complementarity is especially important. Indeed, it is crucial for realizing rights.
National human rights institutions become increasingly involved in reporting on human rights. These should be seen as an authoritative source of information in the process of considering country reports. This is why we believe that such cooperation will help to ensure the development of new laws, policies and programs at the national level.
We are aiming to have a serious consultation with NGOs about how to improve our relations with NGOs.
It would be time now, and this was also emphasized today, to further develop this link by integrating the dialogue with civil society into the formal sessions.
The main challenge currently facing the committee is how to strengthen and harmonize the working methods of the treaty bodies. To this end, the committee has adopted new reporting guidelines as well as a new procedure for the examination of state parties' reports involving the adoption of list of issues prior to reporting.
The visibility of the committee's work is an important issue, and in this aspect improvements could be made. An improved visibility would contribute not only to increase the legitimacy of the committee, but would also lead to a greater recognition of its work within international public opinion.
Norway believes that webcasts from treaty body examinations would be very positive, and we encourage further exploration of this option.
I have noticed that at our annual meeting in July with representatives of states parties, there is a lot of interest, and many of them looking at the work of the committee as it reviews its rules of procedure or doing substantive things. And this is a great encouragement for members of the committee.
Our working methods, despite very certain progress that's been made, and progress has been made, working methods don't necessarily converge. They're not the same, and sometimes we have procedures and methods that are contradictory. What might work here may not work elsewhere. I think one of the major challenges for the future will be how we strike a balance between the flux of information, the flow of information from states, and the flow of information from civil society.
Amnesty International therefore welcomes steps taken by the committee to schedule and consider states in the absence of a report, if these are not submitted to the committee. However, this process would benefit from greater transparency and publicity, we believe.
It would be helpful to have from you a simple guide for use by teachers on the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights.
It is indeed the dignity of humankind which is the major constant that must be respected beyond all cultural diversities. As Mahatma Gandhi said, we are all cut from the same cloth, and to despise a single human being is to despise what is divine within us.